Okay, I am back for game 3 of Taurus versus Jim. Let's see what map we're on this time. It is Dusk Towers. This is the third of a best of 3. So the players are 1 game each. Game 1 was pretty special. Game 2 a little bit more one-sided. So let's see what happens in this decider. JimOntree, the red turn up top, and down in the bottom, blue turn. This is TaurusMimus. So I think I don't know, the music and stuff seems a little bit loud, so I'm going to go ahead and just drop the volume a little bit, just a little bit. See if that improves things at all. Yeah, so in the last couple of games, Taurus has gone for a rather interesting gas first into mass supply depot sort of build. JimOntree has been a little bit more standard. Let's get the production tab up so we can keep an eye on that. Taurus not bothering to build workers, just supply depots is what he's going to build. It's an interesting strat, not one that you see in the pro game very often. But we'll see how it works out. While they're doing that, let's have a quick peek at this map. As with many of the legacy maps, we've got this expand out the back of the main base that you should just take straight away, because it's very, very easy to defend. It's even until you can fly things in there, you cannot get into your opponent's natural. So expand there and expand here as well. So very easy to get up to 3 bases early in this game. This is what I've come to expect from Taurus. Lots of these. No gas this time. Disappointing. Does that mean we're not going to see a ninja expand? If the last couple of games are anything to go by, we'll see Taurus put down his expo here in JimOntree's base. But no, these are barracks. Oh my goodness, Taurus, are you doing a 3 racks rush? Gasless 3 racks rush? You don't normally bother to build all the depots in advance, but it's, oh, you absolute dog, I think you are. JimOntree, if this Reaper comes straight across the map, you will scout this in time to defend it. But you need to know this is coming, or you are gonna die to it. That is assuming that's what Taurus is doing. Maybe he just does like to build things 3 at a time, though. Yeah, perhaps. Yes, just 5 in the queue in that racks, and these 2 can't afford to build any because you don't have any money because it's all in this queue. That's not a good way to build things, StarCraft folks out there. If you've got 3 racks, well then share the love. Have Marines building in all 3. Get those Marines out quicker and get these SCVs back to work, man. Every penny counts at this early stage of the game. So maybe it isn't going to be a 3 racks rush. Maybe I was a little bit presumptuous to assume that anything as normal as that was going to come out of Taurus. Here we see the classic double gas. 6 is probably a little excessive there. JimOntree, I can probably rely on to do something slightly more sensible, although these large numbers of Reapers is a tactic that you do see some people play, mostly in Bronze League and such. You certainly don't see it in a pro game, but or at least not often. You do occasionally see it lurking around Masters League, and well handled, a lot of Reapers can be very, very annoying. Roughly 6 Reapers in a mineral line can literally shred through probes or SCVs so very quickly, and the Reaper is such a quick, nimble unit. This map, not brilliant for Reapers. There is no, this jump is too high for a Reaper to get up, so they do have to come in through this kind of frontage area, so relatively easy to defend against. But yeah, Reapers are such a quick unit. Look how fast these guys get across the map, that it's very hard to catch them once they're inside your base. So yeah, there could definitely be some hurt happening here. As you can see, a Reaper does a reasonable amount of damage. It's doing it per shot, so these guys will easily 2-shot workers. Do need to avoid the other units though, because you will die to them quickly. Yeah, that's unfortunate, because Reapers, their strength is their speed. They don't win a straight up fight with anything really. You need to keep an eye on them at all times. The path you wanted to take was in around the back here, shooting SCVs. When anything comes to fight, you just run, flee from it. You don't want to stand and fight with those Reapers. So, bit of a shame not to have got some more value from those Reapers. So, I don't know, it's almost like Taurus is taking this game seriously. He's built barracks. He hasn't built a battle cruiser yet. He's built a command center in his base where you would expect to see it. You're beginning to scare me, Taurus. Meanwhile, other side of them, I'm very pleased to see Jim doing a pretty good job of increasing his production as his income goes up. Still building workers, but you need that next CC to go down, and there it is, good. So one of the things that's really nice for me to see, this is a beginners league for absolute beginners at StarCraft. It's really nice for me to see the players improving game on game as they get to grips with the sort of mechanics of the game and the way it works, and it's nice to see that that's happening. It is a complex game. There are a lot of sort of facets to it, but the basic mechanics are reasonably straightforward once you get the hang of them. There's an awful lot of fine-tuning. There's a lot of space for fine-tuning builds and stuff and shaving corners off it. But as with most things, it's diminishing returns, hours and hours and hours of practice. At the higher end to get tiny advantages over an opponent. At the level that we're playing at in this league, just doing solid stuff like keeping an eye on your money, and every time it gets above a certain level, build another barracks, is an absolutely fine thing to do, and you will definitely see sort of significant improvements from little things like that as you play. So, back over here, Taurus, no orbital command center. I'm not sure if he's familiar with the operation of that particular bit of kit. We do have the Ghost Academy done. That will allow him to bring ghosts out of this racks with the attached tech lab. Stim researching is the best upgrade in the game. These workers need to get to work. The command centers, your first one is automatically rallied to the minerals. Once that you build after that first one, you need to manually set the rally point onto the minerals. Otherwise, when it builds SCVs, they'll just hang about and do nothing. So, Jim, you do have way more workers on these mineral patches than you need, so good idea to just transfer them down to here. You also need to get a couple more in this gas, but this army is shaping up nicely. Let's just have a look at the tabs. We see that the army supply of Jim is in fact well ahead of his opponent at this stage. Worker supplies are about even, so I would very much expect the mineral incomes to be relatively similar, but they aren't. So why have we got such a big difference in mineral income? Yeah, Taurus mining much more gas. Is it just... well, yeah, it's because these guys are standing doing nothing. That's why only 4 workers actively mining this mineral patch, while there's 11 on these ones, and that, as you can see, is making a pretty big difference to how many minerals you're mining per minute. So at present, definitely a larger army for JimOntree, and I fear if he walks across the map at this point, it could be curtains for Taurus. Very sensibly dropping a scan to have a look at what his opponent has got. In the very early game, you're much better off using the energy on your orbital to drop mules to get you that extra money, but at the same time, scans are a very powerful way of scouting your opponent, and they are unstoppable. Sneaking units into bases, that unit can get shot. A scan, there's nothing you can do about it. Your opponent can drop a scan in your base, and there's no way for you to prevent that from happening. It's not uncommon at high levels of the game to see people spread their units out, or things that they want to keep hidden, they put in a really obscure corner of the base so that if a scan goes down it doesn't see that particular tech. So this is where we're at. The army supply heavily favouring JimOntree. The success he had in the last game with just a pretty much pure marine build has, I think, spurred him on. So a lot of marines still being built. These racks, oh, I think it's all about to happen. Has he got stim? He hasn't got stim. But I don't think it's going to matter. He is going to be able to clean this up very, very quickly indeed. No, a good nuke could change everything here. No nukes are actually... Oh, this is a bad angle to be at, JimOntree. Most of you need to run up there. You need to run into that fire all the way up and then stop and shoot, because otherwise you're going to lose all of that. Oh, it's a massacre. Oh dear. It's probably worth just analysing that a little bit, because that was all about the angle of attack. That was... I'm just going to rewind it, sorry about this. And we're going to look at that again, and I'll explain why the smaller force fairly convincingly won. So, in terms of size of force, we have got here a much larger force on the low ground, but most of these units cannot shoot. So we have small numbers of units against large numbers, and these small numbers are just on a conveyor belt coming forward to take a piston. They are dying so quickly because of that. The way around that is to, instead of attack moving up the ramp, just move all of your units up. Yes, you'll take a pisting and you won't be shooting back to begin with, but once all of your units are up, then stop and shoot. That fight really should have been won by Jim. It was the substantially larger army, but look at the units killed tab. That's a mauling, and neither player has significant upgrades, I don't think. So yeah, Jim has the Taurus has the +1 armor, but Jim has the +1 attack, so those two literally cancel each other out. It does work exactly like that. So upgrade wise they were absolutely even. Yeah, and it was just the fact that all of his units were trapped on that ramp that has cost him that battle. So that said, it is far from all lost. He did successfully take out his opponent's expand. He has got his own third up, not mining from it yet, but it is there. So yeah, this game has kind of stabilized a little bit, and army supply again creeping up, and it definitely in favor of JimOntree. A couple of medevacs certainly could have changed the face of that last battle, because one of the things that they can do is give sight up the ramp so that you know what you're walking up the ramp into, and more importantly they heal your marines as they take fire. Stim as well, a very important upgrade. Again, if you are attacking up a ramp, you should always research stim if you're Terran, always. Even if you're not planning on playing very much bio, it's great to be able to dump extra minerals into marines, because you tend to be gas blocked if you're playing mech. So stim is just, you always need stim. In a situation like that where you're trying to get up a ramp, you would stim and run up the ramp, and once you're up the ramp, hit A. With a bit of practice, you do something called stutter stepping, which is where you click your units forward, then stop them for a moment, click forward, stop for a moment, click and stop, click and stop. With practice, you can actually get marines to fire quicker than they otherwise would by stutter stepping, because the game animation of a marine firing takes longer than a marine takes to fire. So by moving them, firing, moving them and firing, you cut out part of the animation, and therefore you can actually get the shots closer together and squeeze out a tiny advantage from that. But don't worry about trying to master that. That's quite a fiddly thing and takes a bit of practice. It is worth stutter stepping though if you're working your way up a ramp. So you shoot, you move, shoot, move, shoot, move, shoot, move. So after each marauder shot is a reasonably good guide to when to move, and it just means that yes, you're getting up the ramp, but all of your units are going to start firing. but at the same time you're not just taking a piston in the face without returning any fire. This double drop could definitely get some work done. In here is the best place to put it. This army will take a while to get back there, and you will have already killed a lot of units by the time it does. Don't fly the medevacs away, Jim. How are you going to get out again? Keep the medevacs there. Keep them there. Run, run, run. Yeah, I mean, you know, to be honest, I don't mind the idea of suiciding the Marines. You've got a lot of money in the bank, you've got a lot of production, so you can suicide them, but there was no need. You could have easily got those units back out again. Had you kept the medevacs there, the other alternative would have been to, once they'd killed a lot of workers, load them into the medevacs and then boost the medevacs in here. On this map, look at how short a distance this is by medevac. Look how long a walk round it is for your opponent's army. So that's a very kind of sort of standard tactic and standard way to use medevacs. I think he's having to lift this off because perhaps this tank is trapped. So he's just having to move that over. Yeah. Yeah, you need to lower these depots, I think, Jim. Send the tank around the long way. Or just load it into a medevac. Or just park it there, I suppose. That's fine too. Okay. So, army supply heavily favouring Jim. Those prods that he's done, those attacks, have definitely kept the economy of his opponent limited. One of these tabs, I'm sure, tells me about... No, maybe not. Spending tells me the total amount that each player has spent. So... or something like that. Yeah, you can see that JimOntree is well ahead. I'm not entirely sure what the economy one is, but he spent quite a lot more on army than his opponent. Yeah, let's just see what the APMs are. Look at that, JimOntree is all over this game. That's quite a high APM. Okay, so yeah, good. A lot of workers, not up to much. You will notice as you play the game, somewhere over here above the mini-map is a little counter of how many idle workers you've got, and pressing F1 will highlight one of those workers. Control F1 will actually select all of them, so that you do have a quick and easy way to get them back to work if you need it. Let's see. So this army, several siege tanks in here, and if they were sieged up, I would not like to try and get up a ramp with Marines into siege tanks. It's never a good thing. There is also these two Thors that are hard to see behind the medevacs, but there are two in there. So this is not a small army by any stretch of the imagination. It's quite a potent army. Under the right circumstances, this many Marines, however, would annihilate that. This many Reapers, I don't really know what that many Reapers would do. I've never seen that many Reapers. No one knows. Not even Blizzard knows. Yeah, but this many Marines on open ground would definitely kill this. That many Marines trying to get up that ramp would almost certainly die to this. So what's going to happen here, I honestly don't know. It's going to depend very much on the nature of the engagement that we see happening. A couple of expos going down for JimOntree. He's perhaps... Oh! Nuke! No, JimOntree! Move them! Move them! Move them all! Are we... No! How are we going to see this land? No, you're killing me! How many kills? How many? Oh my goodness. 51 kills, and suddenly the army supply is even. Oh, JimOntree. Oh, that. Oh my goodness. Taurus, did you really just do that? Did you really just nuke him? I'm not entirely sure why the position of the nuke was over to the right of the army and not in the middle of the army, but I don't care. You dropped a nuke. Yeah. And he's building another one. Of course he's building another one. Do bear in mind, there's nothing to stop you building several Ghost Academies so that you can have a lot of nukes ready to go at once. a single ghost can't fire more than one nuke at once, but it can fire one after the other, and obviously nothing to stop you from building several ghosts. I can't even believe that just happened. We saw a nuke. We saw an actual nuke. Are we going to see another one? I hope so. Yeah, scans very, very important. If you hear because you do get a warning that nuclear launch detected. If you hear that, it's generally a pretty good idea to drop a scan on your army so that the cloaked ghost shows up. If it isn't on your army, you don't have to worry as much. Nukes don't really kill buildings outright. The only thing they will kill is supply depots, and a really sneaky tactic is actually not to try and kill an army that can run away, but send your ghost the whole way in here cloaked, nuke his supply depots. Oh. No, surely not. I think JimOntree is wise to it this time. He's wise to it. He's not going to lose stuff to it, except those ones. Does lose. It is a nuclear missile. It does have quite a big splash radius. So JimOntree taking a nuclear pesting here from these nukes. You need to drop those scans as soon as you hear that launch. Looks like this ghost was a little bit too close to the nuke for comfort. 66 kills on that unit, man. Do bear in mind, nukes are great, but they take, I don't know, 20 seconds? No, yeah, 20 seconds from planting the nuke till it lands. So if you're in a battle and somebody launches a nuke at you, simply run and come back in a while. Don't try and survive the nuke. That doesn't happen. Nukes kill every unit, I think, in the game. I don't think there are units that can survive a hit from a nuke. Yeah, but don't let nukes put you off attacking. They are generally a covert thing. You sneak in and you drop a nuke and you hope for the best. They don't work out where the nuke's landed. If you're looking carefully, the red dot that the ghost paints the target with can be seen. So if you have a suspicion of where the nuke is, if you think it's somewhere near your army, if you look carefully at the map, you can see the red dot. When you're planting a nuke, if you're going to blow up a mineral line, a top tip is do not plant the red dot on a building, because when you hear the nuclear launch detected, in the game, any alerts, if you press space, it takes you to the last alert. So when you hear that happen, it actually takes you to where the red dot has been painted, if it's on one of your buildings. If it isn't on one of your buildings, it doesn't. Finer points of nukery there. Okay, let's see what's going to happen here. Army supplies are very, very even. Upgrade wise, JimOntree has 1-1, but no stim JimOntree. I don't want. You don't want to walk up that ramp into 2-2 and neck. And another nuke. Where is it? Oh, he's going to attack some buildings and die. So don't let that burn down. What did he? What just happened? Did I miss something important? Did the nuke land? No, the ghost got killed. Is this command center going to burn down? Don't let that happen. You can repair this with your workers. Be careful, JimOntree. Oh, this is nasty. But just like you don't necessarily want to have that ramp, you don't necessarily want to be running down it either. I just don't know. It's all bad. Yeah. Those upgrades are a killer, man. Yeah. So there definitely was a window of opportunity for JimOntree to pretty convincingly take this game. That window, however, I think elapsed when he tried to get up that ramp the first time round. A couple of nukes shaving huge numbers of army supply off, and now the tables are turning pretty drastically. Taurus has got the supply advantage, has got the army advantage, even some ghosts in the mix with this on. Oh, no, don't nuke your own wait, hang on, what? Oh, what? Wait, what? Oh, there he is. Yeah, it's not really going to kill much. It does take out the reactors from the barracks, and it's pretty annoying. Yeah, for sure. So, JimOntree, this base is forfeit. You can't lose that. You needed to actually this time stay up here in a really defensive sort of position, and you could possibly hold this round. Battle cruisers aren't going to save you. I think this is over. It's all over. Wow. Nukes. Very nice. So Taurus playing a much more straight up style again. Yeah. JimOntree also playing a straight up style. Very sort of, well, I'll say unfortunate with that engagement. Dropping them out to lose all that stuff. Losing a bunch of stuff to those nukes as well. Pretty nasty, those kind of a couple of crucial moments in the game, just turning things around for JimOntree. Rather unfortunate because he has played a pretty solid game, but it certainly hasn't worked out. And not to take anything away from Taurus, he has certainly improved his build from what we saw before. And yeah, in the straight up game, has actually done a pretty good job of A, building and running, and B, planting nukes. Awesome stuff. So I don't think there's going to be a recovery at this stage. There are no production buildings left for JimOntree, apart from this one lonely Rax, and it is all over. 2-1 to Taurus. I'm fairly alarmed. Yeah. Who knew that was going to happen? Yeah, I certainly didn't. I certainly didn't. So if I just pause this, JimOntree's point of view, that's what you can see. So this is the view that JimOntree has of the game. This is actually what he's looking at the time, but yeah, that little red dot shows you where the nuke is going to land, but it is a big radius, so all of these guys are certainly going to get wiped out. That's nasty, isn't it? Anyway, GG. I think that's going to be it for tonight. A lot more people have sent me replays, so that's great to see. Keep them coming. Feel free to request if you want any more little tutorials. I know at least one person has asked me to do a tutorial to show how to defend against those things. I'm not going to tell you that. But yeah, do feel free to ask if you want to see any more strats or anything played. Yeah, GG folks.